I'm going to try and do another one of those videos where I try to finish a track in about 60 minutes. And I was thinking of doing this as maybe a monthly thing. So now we got the first weekend of July. So maybe for the first week of August, first weekend of August, I will try to do the same thing with the aim that I hope to improve my skills of finishing tracks and make better tracks within an hour. I don't think an amazing track can ever be made in an hour, but I think it's good practice. And I've also had some nice feedback from some of my viewers that they enjoy watching the process. And I suspect that an hour is probably as much as anyone would like to. Any longer than that, people would just get bored. Anyway, I'm going to try this again, and I hope you will enjoy the journey. And I'm going to talk a bit of rubbish in the meantime. I also got some announcements to make, but I'm just going to get going, and maybe I'll be a bit quiet sometimes because I'm trying to focus. This one might be just a bit more meandering than I'm just not going to have a plan this time. I'm just going to just do something. Okay. I'll press play on my little timer. All right. We're going to need some drums for this track. So I'm going to make a drum track, and I am just going to synthesize everything today, I think. So let's just make a kick quickly. Is that octave? There we are. Now let's make a kick. Quick. And that needs to change the pitch. So we do envelope 2 changes the pitch. Oh, what did I just do? There we are. That kick is not deep enough. It's just because this needs to be a bit deep. Okay. That's quite a deep kick, but it's just quite predictable. So I'm going to do a bit more to it to create something that feels a bit just not your special or usual like 808 style or 909 or something. So the vocoder effect is really good just to add as a noise source. Do that, and then we can add a filter after that, perhaps. And I'm going to use a Max for Live device that I've modified. By the way, I had an interesting content request from one of my viewers saying that he hadn't realized that you could just modify existing Max for Live devices also. Which is totally possible. And he also wanted to get started with Max for Live. And I have to say that I am very much like still a beginner. I don't think I would be able to do a proper tutorial, but I could maybe do a video about just some simple stuff that I just spent hours on just working out how to do. Super basic things just because I didn't know what I was looking for. And maybe I could share some of that and maybe share how I modified some of my devices, if that would be helpful to your process maybe. So I think I'm going to do that. But if you were not the guy who wrote that comment, but you still think it's a good idea, please let me know in the comments. Okay, time is ticking away, and we only got sort of a kick. Okay, and then we just put some compression on there. We will see where we get to in an hour. There is no pressure. Maybe there won't be a complete track, but that's fine too. We may be getting something. That's pretty. I am not sure if this this thing makes it stereo in any way. Just to be sure, I'm going to take a utility, place it in there, and just set it to mono, because that definitely sounds different. So yes, okay, that's good, because I don't want to have any low-end stuff in stereo usually. Okay, and now we need some sort of snare. So we can do that for the snare. Actually, let's just copy that, make it quick. So now we got a, where is it there? That's the snare, and that needs to be obviously higher pitch. And it's almost, here I think we need to have a bit more. It's too high pitch. Does that sound like a snare? Maybe not so much of the. Okay, and then we need some hi-hat stuff, and that's easier to do with if you have a noise source. The wavetable has a sort of a noise source, but it becomes a wavetable, so it's not very easy. I'm going to use the operator for this, and then use a use a high pass filter to get into hi-hat territory. We've got some drums there, and then we can have some other. What can we do? Let's do another wavetable. We need some other percussive instruments. What can we do if that still affects the pitch? So we do. maybe we can do another one of these guys. So this is more like the original version of this Max for Live device is something that comes with Max Ableton's sort of one of the standard packages. More like a complex envelope, but I've changed it so it you trigger it with a key press and then it becomes like an envelope instead. So we can set that to effect. Let's set it to that. What we do? We can, if we remove that. It's too long. Okay, we need to get going. Let's just make a beat out of this. Let's see where we are heading. So I'm going to use a technique. I'm a big fan of Ned Rush. No surprise there. And if you don't know Ned Rush, you should definitely go and check out his YouTube channel. So I mean, this is a really like it's not the functionality. I didn't know that existed. It was more that the way he used it was just nice. That you make, so I make this, I didn't want the hi-hats there. I wanted so I just got inspired when he was using something similar to this. So you use down here, this is new in Ableton 11. If you click that button, you can set the chance of notes, how likely they are to play. So sometimes they won't play. So if we just take the kick line here, for example, the first kick I probably always want to play, and maybe that one as well. But the other ones, I can just change the probability. So they are not certain to play, say 50-50 chance. And the same with these ones. So you're going to get some alternating patterns. I should have set that to loop. So I can do, and then we add in hi-hats on every note, and we definitely pull down the probability on those. I hate 120. Let's just speed it up a bit. Let's see. Almost got an electro thing going, and then we can get our other little, whatever we should call it, like we just put that. We don't necessarily want it ever when there might be a snare or a kick. So we just put that in between. And now I'm going to reveal a trick to you. Something that I should probably have discovered ages ago. The Prandom Map 5, if you watched any of my other videos, this is like a Max for Live device that I use all the time, which is a home-baked thing, and was a modification on the original expression control. But now you don't need my device anymore. Maybe you didn't ever need it, because I maybe never discovered this, that there is actually this. Here you can choose what the expression control is reacting to. So if you set this to random, you pretty much get exactly my what my device, the Random Map 5, was doing. So they find it in Ableton 11. They've put that in now in the MIDI effects. It's still a Max for Live device actually, so you can probably modify it if you click on that icon there. But this one can actually do a hell of a lot more stuff that I need to explore a bit more. So if you click on that one, you can change the curve that it's affecting stuff and all sorts of things. So we're going to use this now just to randomize some of these values so that other, I don't know if we can even call it and then we need to put some effects on this baby to just affect it a bit more. So we can do, or shall we just, let's just put a drum bass on it. We can have this is fine. I can just build some other elements of this track. So let's, sounded like a sheep. While I'm doing this, there's just so much bass. I think that the kick needs to calm down a bit, probably. Okay, we can't dwell too much on that. Now we're going to make some other instruments. I'm just going to mute that. Let's make a bass. And I've become quite fond of, in the recent week or so, to try to look beyond what these synthesizers can do sonically, because I just realized that my sound palette started sounding really similar, and start seeing your effects as part of the synthesis rather than that's something that is added on extra. So I'm just going to make a very basic bass sound now. Well, we're already there, I suppose, but let's just do. So a little bit of FM bass there. And now I am not having any plans at all. I don't know what I'm going to do. Sounds dreadful. There's also probably a lot of nasty stuff happening around 200 hertz, which is my pet hate frequency. Maybe that is partly because not quite 200, but there's something around this region here that I just find really unpleasant. I'm currently stuck with just using headphones. I got a pair of, they're ancient now, but they've served me really well. A pair of Sennheiser HD 25. That's what they're called. You know, those classic ones that you've seen a million DJs using. On that note, soon I'm going to be back on speakers again. I have not had access to my hardware set up since before Christmas because of a really lengthy house move that didn't go to plan at all. But now we have finally bought a house, moving in the first week of August. And maybe I will be sharing a bit of that process with you, because I'm planning, there's a garden office building there that I'm going to turn into my studio. I might be in the house to start with, just before, because there's some little bit of work to the garden office that needs to happen. But I should be able to provide you with a wider range of content. There will be some more hardware stuff, some Eurorack stuff. I hope you will enjoy that, and please let me know if you think that's a good idea. I also think that it would be interesting, because I think using Eurorack has completely changed how I work in Ableton, and vice versa. And it would be nice to maybe do a couple of videos on, if you have a Eurorack system, how can you utilize some of the Ableton way of thinking onto your Eurorack system, and the other way around as well. Do a bit of comparison. So if you have Ableton, you but don't have Eurorack, you might be benefiting from that, and vice versa. If you have Eurorack and maybe are a bit stuck in your music making process. Okay, sorry, I'm procrastinating. What else can we do? We can do. Is the frequency shifter good? Ha! Did you hear that bass just disappear? That, oh, what? Something a bit satisfying, yeah. Somewhat satisfying. And also, using delays in parallel is quite fun. Gosh, I'm 20 minutes in and there's nothing like a track yet. It's just nothing. So if we take and group the echo, so we get an effects rack, and we make two of these next to one another, so you get parallel delays with, actually we decouple those so they are also slightly different. Oh, that needs to be time as well, so they are slightly different. And then we do the same with the other one, and then we do that one a bit tighter maybe, and that one can be a bit slower, and we do it's maybe a bit much, so we do them quite, and then we can do one after both of them. And who am I to sit here and say that bass should not be in stereo? Probably because it shouldn't be, so I'm going to do that. But then there's this nifty button, bass in mono. So that, in this case, you can change this, but it says everything under 120 hertz to be. So how can we make a funky bass line with this? We can do, maybe we actually want to have a bit of that vocoder action on there. Is that just a bit rubbish? I don't know. I don't know. Let's leave it there for now. Just, again, I'm just like so super excited that I am gonna be, oh gosh, be able to be have my own studio. It's the first time in my life that I will be able to have all my gear plugged in. But I'm also going to be disciplined. I got a bunch of old gear that I probably never ever going to use again, that I might be putting up for sale. Another thing that I need to announce is that Point Source Arts, link in the description, Bandcamp label, I will be releasing an album there, which shall be coming out in August, if I can get my act together and finish everything that I need to finish. So please go and check them out. They already have a bunch of releases out with IDM stuff. So if you're into that sort of thing, you should be checking them out. Okay, so I'm using my modified Mono Sequencer. That's a free sequencer, but my modified version, you can get that if you subscribe to my Patreon. The difference what this does is there is a random button on the original one as well, so you can randomize the patterns, but you can't map it. So now you can actually, if you want to halfway through, without clicking with your mouse, you can actually map that, so you can have it randomized throughout the track if you want to. The other thing is that it requires a MIDI note to come in to progress through the sequence. It doesn't matter what that MIDI note is, because the MIDI note will not, whatever pitch I play, it's not going to play that pitch. The only thing it's doing is just telling that sequencer to progress one more step. So the notes that will actually be playing are the ones from the sequencer. Gosh, that's no swear words, loud. Okay, so maybe we randomize the octave a bit, but rather down than up, because it's such a harsh sound there. What are you doing? Go back. So if I just make a little, so then basically this is just setting the rhythm of how the sequence is progressing. So if I do, I quite like that high note, but it's also, it's harsh. Could I solve that by putting a limiter on there? Maybe. So if I, okay, so that, I mean, yeah, it's a bit squashed, but that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. If we, what would it be if I use one more of those expression controls in here? No, that's not, I don't want a MIDI rack. I want an expression. Oh, can you click on the right button, please? There we are. So we do random, and if I just set that to be a bit random on the filter, we don't want the filter to be all the way closed, so we can do, it's not really making much of a difference. Wow. Seriously. Okay. I'm just gonna, let's just pretend that this is a section of it. We can maybe add an open hi-hat in or something. So if we do that, I just select the second part and just do that. Do that. You can't see what I'm doing. I'm hitting Command J just to make this into an individual MIDI track, and then we just go in and where's our hi-hat? Is there. So if we do a copy of our hi-hat, but we can do a slightly more open one maybe. It's almost like a clap. It's very harsh. Actually, yeah, we can maybe have that as almost like a maracas sound. So if we do, actually we only need to do that much, and then we can do. So we do that. I never remember it. So click here, and then we can. Which one is it doing? No. There. That's the button we want. So now we can set choke groups. So we got that one and that one. So we set that to choke group 1. So they should now be choking each other. As in, like, if the other one will interrupt the other. So you. Like a real hi-hat. If you have one hi-hat, you can't both play open and closed hi-hat at the same time, unless you have 2. So then we should maybe just make some space for them. And then we set that to loop. Another thing that I wanted to do a video on, I don't think we will talk much about it today, but I'm sure many of you have been in the situation where you're stuck in the loop. So obviously randomization is one way of loosening up the loop a bit and stopping it from feeling so monotonous, but transitioning into a new section, not like writing the, well, also like, yeah, what should the next section be, but more like, how do you glue them together? How do you go from one to the other without it sounding weird? And there's a multitude of ways of doing this. And it's actually something I would like to practice myself more, just coming up with ideas how you can go from one to the other. Then we can do, maybe we should just do a pad sound or something. Let's say the bass line continues, but the drums disappear for a bit. So obviously the clever thing, we used the minor pentatonic scale for the bass line. I don't know if I actually said it, but I added it. Sorry, burping. Minor pentatonic, which is in scales in the MIDI effects, just making sure that it sticks to a scale, and that makes it really easy to just add different layers of other instruments. So let's do the analog here. So I'm going to do the same thing for, first thing I'm going to do is to add that in here, not major, we want the minor one, minor pentatonic scale. So if whatever, that didn't sound very good, but whatever keys I'm going to be pressing now is going to sound fine. Do we want the filter to be affected by the envelope? I am not sure, but and then we can do the second oscillator. We can have, let's turn on the LFO, and then the second oscillator can just, should we just like fluctuate the, but tail is very long. This envelope is just a bit rubbish compared to some of the more sophisticated instruments they have now. How can we spice this up? Let's add the spectral resonator. Then you click MIDI and you want the MIDI input from that same channel, because now we play the resonator too. And reverb, of course, that's going to be good on a pad, isn't it? Sounds a bit Blade Runner, doesn't it? I don't know, I'm just going to hammer some chords in. Ha! How about that for cheating? So yeah, if you just use that scale plugin, and or you can use the MIDI pack. I don't know if you get all those. I don't know, why do I get so many ads for chord packs on YouTube? Just going to turn these. Just thinking, is that a bit high pitched? Should I just take that down an octave? Actually, we can skip that. Let's do that first chord again. Gosh, the quantization is pretty ropey. It's fine, it's pads. I'm just going to leave it like this. So we've got another 20 minutes to finish some sort of track. I probably want to. Just copy. I don't know if that came up. My friend Hannah was asking me if I've been to the Barbican today. Yes, I was at the Barbican today in London. Not for very long. We were pretty much just passing through it. So we want to make some faster melodies. Which one I'm gonna take? Okay, I'm gonna take that bass line, copy that. But we want it to come in here. I'm just gonna isolate this for now. So that is the bassline sound now. So if I just do Let's change this sound. We take that. We want that. We just want a different melody now, and we want. Actually, we don't want that at all. We are just after this, and we can do. It doesn't. Yes. No. Well, I don't know what I'm doing. Just the quantizer is just going to sort this out. I'm just going to pick a few random combination of notes. Maybe we can just do, I don't know. Then we can do, I have no idea how this is going to sound. So don't think that you're just looking and thinking, oh my goodness, what is he doing? Because I don't know what I'm doing. So maybe, actually, we make this longer. I wish I knew a shortcut of just spreading these out now, but we can try to do that manually. So how is that what we want? No, this one needs to, yeah, that's fine. What have I done? Ding, 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 space. Yeah, maybe that's it. So then there should be a legato button here. Is there a legato button? Okay. So if we just change the character. We can do random, and then every time it receives a key press, we're no, hang on, let's do this. Click on here first, and every time we receive a key press, we change the waveform. And then let's do a arpeggio on that. We do a slow arpeggio with relay. And then we do a second arpeggio with but we do them almost needs to be higher up, doesn't it? random, maybe. We need more random. We need to send some random to the delay. I realized that so many of my videos, they just sounds the same. But when I make music, it doesn't sound like this. Maybe it's just because I'm restricting myself to this hour. I don't know. So then we can do a B section. We just bring this back, put that here. Okay, I promise you guys that the next video I do needs to sound different. I don't know why it happens when I'm making this. What do we do? Maybe we just want to. Maybe we can just have a filter closing here, just so we get a proper ending. Okay, I probably should have closed my WhatsApp thing. Someone is asking about Star Trek now, I think. I don't watch Star Trek. I don't watch Star Trek at all. So if we just have the filter closing here. Whoa. And same here, but maybe we can do a filter that's high pass instead. We just go really twinkly. So if we do the same thing, we start from here and we go up, and also we add a reverb. With quite a long tail. Maybe we get the tail to grow as well. So we do up to quite high, and then we do dry wet as well. Do some automation here. So maybe that one doesn't quite cut out. Oh gosh, this is not a very exciting track, but what can you do? We got 10 minutes left, so we need some sort of intro. It's a very short track, but it is a track, I suppose. So for the intro, we can just put some noise in. So insert silence. So you can do, and then let's do 60, 16 maybe. Boom. Okay, so we've got like a 2.5 minute long track or something. That's fine. So if you sponsor me on Patreon, I will be sharing this project file. You will be able to access some of the custom Max for Live devices as per usual. And I shall promise you something more exciting for next weekend. Sorry about this. It just like ends up being so samey, but there we are. Need to do something. So we need to do something for the intro, and let's just do it's going to take something from my sample library, just some. Sorry about that. Do you know what? I just realized there was a guy who just said like, oh, maybe you should just put a limiter on the master. And yes, I probably should have. I haven't done that again. So apologies if that was just a bit too unpleasant for words. Okay. I'm just going to take one of these samples and put it there. And what happens if I, okay, is that, and then we bounce that by hitting Command J, and then we can pitch it down further. No, yes, there, and then we just do, let's just cut some cut the bass a bit. Where is it? Actually, let's not cut the bass yet. We're going to use resonators on here. There is some probably around. So let's just do a bit of EQing there. So harsh sounding. I could probably just pull the volume down, couldn't I? Just make it a bit quieter. Yes, maybe I use an LFO. Where do the LFOs live nowadays? I think it's in here, even though it's not an audio effect as such. Can we just have a slow evolving LFO? So if we set that to random and smooth it out there, does that make it? Then we map that to these other resonators. Maybe the depth is not so much. Do another one. Come on. Let's do another LFO. We do not, if we don't have any smoothing on that, and then we set it to sync to, if you set that note, it will sync to the tempo of the track, I believe, and then we just do that. that just doesn't really fit together at all. We need some other, we need a sort of something. That's not gonna be good enough, I don't think. That's not. Let's try that one, and then we just lower the volume a bit, reverse it. So if you hit that button, you get these, so you can just do a fade in. Gosh, I don't know, is that a track? I think, yeah, it's got a beginning and an end and some stuff happening in the middle. Okay, this is maybe not one of the best videos I've made. Have I ever made a good video? Maybe. I'm just gonna put some stuff in the master, do all the things one should. Could have just made an ambient track, couldn't I? It's just like. Okay, I actually got 3 minutes to destroy this track. Okay, I'm actually gonna do that now. Quickly, I can take a grain delay, just. Quickly, I got this events thing. Presets. Come on, quick. MIDI effects, the fellow passenger. I got this events manager thing. Need a new channel to put that on. It's basically just running a bunch of sequencers with a different interval. So you can have every whole note, for example. And then you can use things like so you put that on its track, on its own track, and then you can use things like the expressions control. So you just have that there, but it's more almost like you use so if you want something happening on every beat or every half beat, you can control other tracks. So for example here, set this to now run on every half note, and then I can affect something on the master, for example. So here we're going to just change how much dry wet that is. We're going to set these all to random. I might run over by a minute or something. I'm just going to gracefully ruin this track, and then we can change the pitch, and we can change the frequency as well, the master. This is what not to put on a mastering chain. So we do that repeat thing, and then we can actually modulate that as well. What can we do? We can offset. Random. We do. Okay, got a few seconds left. set that to the feedback. But actually, I wonder if we should do that, group those, and then we do another chain, but we set that volume a lot lower. So we just got a flavor of the rubbish. Actually, this is much more interesting. We've run over by 40 seconds. I don't need to play out the whole track. I'm also going to render it out and put it on my Patreon. So if you want to grab it, feel free. It's probably not something you want to listen to over again. But there we are. I hope you enjoyed it after all, even though, oh, it's getting a bit samey. I'm going to... Okay, so my challenge is for my next month's 60 minutes, I need to make something that just sounds significantly different from this. Okay? I promise to you. Now, go and check out Ned Rush videos. I'll put a link in the description to his video channel. I think his YouTube channel, because I think his stuff, it has inspired a lot of the stuff that I do, and also a link to my Patreon page. If you want to support what I do, I would appreciate it so much. And I also hope that some point next month, maybe I will be ready to post something with a bit of hardware. Also, I forget to say, I might say that in the next video, I have a Renoise. I've just bought Renoise, a tracker. I haven't really used tracker software since, I don't know, like at least 20 years or something. It used to be the thing that I was using when I was starting making music on the Amiga ages ago. In the 90s sometime, and then obviously moved on to other things after that. But I have bought Renoise. That does not mean that I'm going to stop using Ableton. I just think that that is a different workflow, create different results. Just like using a modular synthesizer is, it's just a different method of making music, and I feel like my music sounds very different when I'm using hardware, for example, compared to Ableton. And now I've been stuck with Ableton for so long, so I'm looking at just branching out a bit. I think Ableton is going to be my DAW choice still for a while. So yeah, and also I have got a Discord. I'll put a link in the description if you want to join in, if you want to have a chat, if you want to have questions or complain or have ideas. Anyway, I shall stop talking now. Thank you for watching, and have a good day, evening, night, or whenever you're watching this, morning perhaps. Bye.